in the dining room of Rosemary's, our family's flagship restaurant, staring at the wall of framed photos that chronicled our history. 25 years of memories captured in fading prints. My grandfather opening the first location in 1980, my parents taking over in 1995, and endless shots of my sister Olivia's beaming face as she won cooking competitions and earned glowing press reviews. My face appeared exactly once, age 12, half hidden behind Olivia in a staff Christmas photo. There you are, Madison. My father's voice made me turn. He stood in the doorway, his chest whites pristine despite the dinner rush that had just ended. Your mother and I need to talk to you. Join us in the office? I nodded, already knowing what this conversation would be about. At 32, Olivia was ready to take over the family business, our chain of upscale Italian restaurants now worth over $2 million. And I, at 28, was about to be officially pushed aside. The office still smelled exactly the same. Garlic and herbs from the kitchen mingled with the leather of my father's ancient desk chair. Mom sat perched on the edge of the desk, while Olivia lounged in one of the visitor chairs, scrutinizing her perfect manicure. Have a seat, honey. Mom gestured to the remaining chair. Her smile was gentle, but didn't quite reach her eyes. I sat, smoothing my simple black dress, the one I wore for my job managing the books at Rosemary's. Numbers were the only thing my parents trusted me with, and even then, Olivia had final approval on everything. Madison, Dad began, settling into his chair. You know we've been discussing succession planning for the business. Your sister has proven herself more than capable of taking Rosemary's to the next level. Olivia preened. Of course she had. They'd handed her every opportunity while relegating me to background roles. We've decided it's time, Mom continued. Olivia will assume full ownership and control of all restaurant operations, effective next month. I waited for the rest. Surely there would be some role for me, some acknowledgement of my years of quiet contribution. The silence stretched. And me? I finally asked. Dad shifted uncomfortably. Well, sweetheart, we think it's best if you explore other opportunities. Your sister has a very specific vision for the future of Rosemary's. What your father means, Olivia cut in, her voice dripping with fake sympathy, is that we'll be bringing in professional financial staff. Let's be honest, Madison. You're not really cut out for the restaurant business. You've never had the passion for it like I do. I gripped the arms of my chair, memories flooding back. 12-year-old me, begging to help in the kitchen only to be told I'd get in the way. 16-year-old me, suggesting menu improvements that were dismissed without consideration. 20-year-old me, graduating top of my class in business school while Olivia got all the praise for winning a local cooking contest. We'll give you an excellent severance package, Mom added quickly. 3 months' salary. That should give you time to find something more suitable. I see. I stood up slowly, my mind already racing ahead. And I assume you'll want me out by the end of the week. That would be best, Olivia smiled. The new financial team starts Monday. I nodded curtly and walked out, ignoring my mother's call of Madison, wait. Behind me, I heard Olivia's dismissive laugh. Oh, let her go, Mom. She'll get over it. But I wouldn't get over it. Not this time. That night, I sat in my small apartment, surrounded by spreadsheets and business plans I'd been quietly working on for years. Every time they'd dismissed my ideas, I'd refined them. Every time they'd pushed me aside, I'd strengthened my resolve. They thought I lacked passion. They had no idea. I pulled up the lease agreement on my laptop. The one I'd signed last week for the vacant storefront directly next door to Rosemary's. The landlord had been surprised when I offered above market rate, but location was everything. Opening my meticulously organized files, I reviewed my concept again. While Rosemary's catered to the dinner crowd with white tablecloths and $40 pasta dishes, I saw an untapped market. Young professionals wanting quality coffee, fresh pastries, and quick but sophisticated lunch options. A modern cafe with Italian influences, but none of the stuffiness. I'd spent years studying customer patterns, noting complaints, and identifying gaps in the local restaurant scene. While Olivia focused on impressing food critics, I'd watched what actually brought in steady profits. My phone buzzed. A text from my best friend Sofia. Just heard what happened. You okay? I smiled grimly and replied, better than okay. Remember that business plan I showed you? It's time. Sophia had been the only person who believed in me from the start. As the head pastry chef at an exclusive hotel downtown, she'd even offered to consult on my menu development. The next morning, I walked into Rosemary's for what would be my last day. The morning prep crew barely looked up as I passed through the kitchen. I'd always been practically invisible here anyway. In my small office, I methodically gathered my personal items while downloading copies of all the financial records I'd legally created. Clearing out already, Olivia appeared in the doorway, a smug smile playing on her lips. I thought you'd at least finish the week. I carefully placed my succulents in a box. No point dragging it out. I'm sure your new team is eager to start. She walked in, running a finger along my desk. You know, I did try to convince Mom and Dad to keep you on in some capacity. Maybe as a hostess, but they agreed you need to find your own path. I bit back a laugh. Classic Olivia, always making sure to appear generous while twisting the knife. How thoughtful of you. Well, family is family. She paused. Though I hope you understand you won't be getting any friends and family discounts at the restaurants. It wouldn't be fair to other customers. Don't worry, I said, picking up my box. I won't be eating here anymore. Her smile faltered slightly at my calm tone. She'd expected tears, pleading, anything but this quiet confidence. Good luck with whatever you end up doing, she called after me as I walked out. Maybe accounting? You were always good with numbers. If she noticed me smiling as I left, she probably assumed I was holding back tears. She had no idea. The next few months passed in a blur of activity. While Olivia hogged the local restaurant media spotlight with her bold new vision for Rosemary's, I quietly assembled my team. Sofia agreed to oversee our pastry program while maintaining her hotel job. Her reputation alone would draw attention. I hired Maria, a brilliant young barista who'd won several regional competitions but felt stifled by corporate coffee chains. Jack, a former line cook from Rosemary's who'd quit after Olivia took over, signed on to run our savory kitchen. He brought with him several other staff who'd grown tired of my sister's management style. The construction crew worked day and night transforming the empty storefront. Floor-to-ceiling windows would flood the space with natural light. The coffee bar, crafted from reclaimed wood and Italian marble, would be a showpiece. Every detail was carefully chosen to create an atmosphere that was both welcoming and sophisticated. I threw myself into every aspect of the business. While managing construction, I also focused on brand development, menu testing, and staff training. My savings account dwindled, but my small business loan would cover the remaining startup costs. I had one shot at this, and I wasn't going to waste it. The day we installed the sign was when reality truly hit home. Mattina, meaning morning in Italian, in elegant gold letters against deep blue. Through the construction barriers, I could see Olivia watching from Rosemary's window, her expression unreadable. Let her watch. Let them all watch. 2 weeks before our planned opening, I was reviewing coffee bean orders when Jack burst into my office, his face pale. "Madison, you need to see this." He handed me his phone, open to the local restaurant news website. The headline made my blood run cold. Rosemary's ANNOUNCE NEUCAFA CEPT Bureau and beloved Italian flavors to breakfast and lunchy. My hands shook as I read the article. Olivia was launching a cafe menu at all Rosemary's locations. Breakfast pastries, gourmet sandwiches, specialty coffee drinks, nearly identical to what we planned. And they were starting with the flagship location, next door. They must have gotten wind of our concept. Someone had talked, or they'd seen our permit applications, and now they were trying to crush us before we could even open. I looked up to find my entire team watching me anxiously. They'd all taken huge risks to join this venture. Some had quit stable jobs. They believed in my vision, and I couldn't let them down. "Call everyone in," I said, standing up. "Emergency meeting in 20 minutes. As my staff filed into our unfinished dining room, I took a deep breath. This wasn't over. In fact, it was just beginning. My family had underestimated me my entire life, but they'd never seen what I was truly capable of. Time to show them. The emergency team meeting lasted until midnight. Empty coffee cups and discarded ideas littered our makeshift conference table, a piece of plywood balanced on sawhorses. But by the time we finished, we had a plan. They think they can beat us at our own game. I stood at the head of the table, surveying my tired but determined staff. Let them try. We're not just opening a cafe. We're creating something entirely new. Over the next week, we completely revamped our concept. While Rosemary's would offer watered-down versions of standard cafe fare, we would innovate. Our pastry chef, Sophia, developed hybrid creations that combined Italian and Asian flavors: matcha tiramisu, yuzu cannoli, black sesame bomboloni. Each item was photographed for our social media campaign, generating buzz before we even opened. Maria, our head barista, designed a coffee program that went beyond typical espresso drinks. She sourced rare beans from small Italian farms and created signature drinks that told a story. The Vesuvius, a volcanic-looking layered espresso drink with chocolate ash, became our Instagram star. But our biggest innovation came from an unexpected source. Jack, our kitchen manager, had been experimenting with rapid cooking techniques that could deliver restaurant-quality meals in cafe timing. "Look at this," he demonstrated, pulling a perfectly cooked pasta dish from a specialized heating unit. 3 minutes from order to plate, and the quality matches any full-service restaurant. We installed a line of these units, allowing us to offer hot, fresh meals in record time. Perfect for business lunches when people couldn't spend an hour at Rosemary's. The morning of our opening, I arrived at 4 a.m. to find a line already forming. Our social media campaign had worked better than expected. The first 100 customers would receive limited edition Matina coffee tumblers, and people wanted them. Through our windows, I could see lights on at Rosemary's. Olivia was there, watching. They'd rushed to launch their cafe menu 2 days earlier, but the reviews had been lukewarm. Traditional pastries and basic coffee drinks couldn't compete with what we were about to unveil. At precisely 6 a.m., I unlocked our doors. The space was stunning, modern yet warm, with that reclaimed wood and marble bar as our centerpiece. The aroma of freshly baked pastries and specialty coffee filled the air. "Welcome to Matina," I greeted the first customers, a group of young professionals headed to nearby offices. Their eyes widened as they took in the display case filled with Sophia's creations. "Are those yuzu cannoli?" One woman pressed her face against the glass. "I saw these on Instagram." By 7 a.m., we had a constant line of 30 people. By noon, we'd sold out of most pastries and had to rush additional batches. Our quick service pasta dishes were a huge hit with the lunch crowd, many of whom had walked out of Rosemary's when told about their 45-minute wait time. I was expediting orders when I saw them, my parents and Olivia, walking through our doors. They tried to look casual, but I could see them scrutinizing everything: the innovative menu, the efficient service, the full tables, the constant line. Olivia picked up a menu, her perfectly manicured fingernails gripping the recycled paper. "Fast casual Italian fusion." She sniffed. "Hardly authentic." I stepped out from behind the counter, radiating calm confidence. "Can I help you find something?" "The black sesame bomboloni are our best seller this morning." "Madison," my mother started, then faltered as she looked around the busy cafe. This wasn't the failing business they'd expected to find. My father cleared his throat. "Interesting concept you have here, though I'm not sure it fits with the neighborhood's character." I gestured to our packed dining room. "The neighborhood seems to disagree. Now, if you'll excuse me, we have customers waiting." They left without ordering, but I knew this wasn't over. Olivia's face had that look, the one she got when plotting something. Sure enough, 2 days later, Rosemary's announced they were slashing their breakfast and lunch prices by 30%. "They're trying to undercut us," Jack worried, showing me their new menu. "We can't match those prices and stay profitable." "We don't need to," I assured him. "Quality speaks for itself." I was right. Despite Rosemary's price cuts, our business kept growing. Word spread about our unique offerings and quick service. Food bloggers raved about our fusion pastries. Local offices started ordering catering. We had lines out the door every morning. Then came the call that changed everything. "Ms. Bennett." The voice was crisp, professional. "This is Marcus Chin from Venture Capital Partners. We've been hearing interesting things about Matina. Would you be open to discussing expansion opportunities?" I sat down, my hands shaking slightly. This was it, the chance to grow beyond what my family thought possible. But first, I had to handle a more immediate crisis. Sophia burst into my office, her chef's coat dusted with flour. "Madison, we have a problem. Someone's been trying to poach our staff, offering double salary to work at Rosemary's new cafe division." I smiled grimly. Of course Olivia would try this tactic. Call a staff meeting. Time to let everyone in on phase 2 of our plan. The next morning, I walked into the VC meeting with a detailed expansion proposal, not just for 1 or 2 new locations, but for a complete reimagining of the quick service dining industry. "Our goal isn't to compete with traditional restaurants," I explained, pointing to my projections. "We're creating a new category entirely. High-end quality with fast casual efficiency. And we can replicate this model anywhere." Marcus leaned forward, intrigued. "And your current location's numbers support this?" I handed him our first quarter financials. His eyebrows rose as he reviewed them. "Very impressive. But I have to ask, what about competition? Particularly from established local restaurants." He was diplomatic, but I knew he meant Rosemary's. "Competition drives innovation," I said confidently. "We've already proven we can succeed against established players." Now we're ready to expand that success. 2 weeks later, I signed the investment deal. $10 million in first-round funding with an aggressive expansion plan. We would open 5 new locations in the next year, each with our signature blend of quality, speed, and innovation. The news hit the local restaurant scene like a bombshell. Olivia's attempts to copy our concept suddenly looked small and derivative. Everyone was talking about the future of dining, and Martina was leading the conversation. Walking into work the morning after the announcement, I found an envelope on my desk. Inside was a note in my mother's handwriting. "Perhaps we should talk." "Mom." I tucked the note away without responding. They'd had years to talk, years to see my potential. Now they could watch what happened next. The first new Martina location opened 4 months later in the heart of the financial district. The line on opening day stretched for 3 blocks. 2 months after that, we launched in the trendy arts district, adding evening hours and a wine program. Each new location brought innovations. We introduced automated ordering systems that remembered customer preferences. Our kitchens became models of efficiency, delivering complex dishes in minutes. The press started calling us the future of Italian dining. Rosemary's, meanwhile, struggled to keep up. Their attempts to modernize felt forced and confused their traditional customer base. I heard through industry gossip that their profits were dropping. Then came the headline that shook the local restaurant world. Rosemary closes 2 locations. Traditional restaurant chain faces modern dining challenges. Seeing that article, I felt no joy. This hadn't been about destroying my family's business. It was about building something true to my own vision, something that would make a real difference in the industry. That evening, as I was reviewing plans for our 6th location, my office phone rang. The caller ID showed Olivia Bennett. I stared at the phone for a long moment, thinking about everything that had led to this point. Then calmly, I picked up the receiver. "Madison?" Olivia's voice wavered, lacking its usual confidence. "We need to talk." I leaned back in my chair, looking out at the city lights. In the reflection of my office window, I could see the gleaming signs of 3 Martina locations. "I'm listening." "Can we meet? In person?" She paused. "Please, it's important." An hour later, I sat across from Olivia at a neutral location, an upscale bar downtown. She looked different, somehow smaller. The perfectly curated appearance remained, but stress had left its mark. "We're losing everything," she said without preamble, staring into her untouched wine. "Rosemary's is failing. 2 locations closed, and the others are barely breaking even. The banks are threatening to call our loans." I took a measured sip of my drink. "I'm aware of your situation." "Of course you are." She laughed bitterly. "You probably knew before we did. You always were better with numbers." "What do you want, Olivia?" She straightened, composing herself. "We want to propose a merger. Rosemary's and Martina. Combined resources, shared expertise." We cold. "No." The word came out sharp and final. "You haven't even heard the terms." "I don't need to." I set my glass down carefully. "Martina is valued at $50 million, Olivia. We're opening our 15th location next month, with 30 more planned for next year. We don't need Rosemary's resources or expertise. We're still family," she whispered. "Are we? When was the last time you treated me like family?" She flinched. "I know we make mistakes." "Mistakes?" I cut in. "You systematically pushed me aside for years. You took every opportunity to belittle me, to remind me." I wasn't good enough. When you forced me out, you didn't even have the decency to be honest about it. You wrapped it in fake concern and condescension. I was wrong, she said quietly. We all were. Watching what you've built. It's extraordinary, Madison. You've revolutionized the entire industry while we were clinging to outdated traditions. I studied her face, searching for the manipulation I'd grown so accustomed to seeing. But for once, my sister seemed genuine. Here's what I'll offer, I said finally. Not a merger. Matina remains independent, but I'll buy the original Rosemary's location, the one grandfather built. I'll keep the name and some signature dishes, but modernize the concept. A single high-end dinner venue to complement our fast casual empire. And the other locations? Close them. They're not viable anymore. Use the sale proceeds to pay off your debts. After that, if you're interested, we might discuss a position at Matina. Entry level. No special treatment. You'd have to earn any advancement. Her eyes widened. You'd really give me a chance? After everything? Everyone deserves a chance to prove themselves. I had to build mine from nothing. You'll at least have a foundation. 2 days later, I sat in my parents' living room, reviewing the sales contract for Rosemary's. My father kept shaking his head, staring at the purchase price. All these years, he murmured. We never saw. You saw what you wanted to see, I replied, initialing another page. You decided early on that Olivia was the successful one, the one with potential. You never bothered to look deeper. My mother dabbed at her eyes with a tissue. Can you ever forgive us? I paused, considering the question. I'm not angry anymore. Building Matina taught me something important. Success isn't about proving others wrong. It's about proving yourself right. The acquisition of Rosemary's flagship location made headlines in the restaurant industry. But the bigger story came 3 months later, when Matina announced our nationwide expansion plan. 100 locations across the country, plus our first international ventures in London and Tokyo. The day we opened the reimagined Rosemary's, I stood in that same dining room where the family photos hung. The wall had been redesigned, now telling a different story. Photos of grandfather still held pride of place, but alongside them were images of Matina's journey, my journey. Olivia, now 6 months into her role managing quality control for our pastry program, joined me. I heard Tokyo's opening beat all projections, she said, and London's already got a waiting list for franchises. I nodded. The Dubai team flies in next week to discuss Middle East expansion. She shook her head in amazement. A global empire built from a tiny cafe next door. You know what the irony is? If we hadn't tried to copy your concept that first day, if we just let you do your thing, Rosemary's might have survived. Maybe, but then I might not have pushed so hard to innovate. Sometimes our biggest challenges lead to our greatest successes. Later that night, after the last customers had left and the staff had gone home, I sat alone in my office reviewing expansion plans. On my desk sat a small plaque, given to me that morning by my team. It read, Madison Bennett, founder and CEO, Matina International, from a single door to a worldwide welcome. I picked up the plaque, running my fingers over the engraved words. Success wasn't just about the money, the locations, or even proving my family wrong. It was about staying true to your vision, even when no one else could see it. My phone buzzed. Photos from the Tokyo location's soft opening. The lines stretched for blocks, just like that first morning next door to Rosemary's. But now, the crowds weren't just waiting for coffee and pastries. They were waiting to be part of something revolutionary. I opened my laptop to review the latest innovation proposals from our R&D team. We were exploring AI-driven ordering systems, sustainable sourcing initiatives, and revolutionary kitchen automation. The $50 million empire was just the beginning. The sun was rising by the time I finally